All right, let's talk about org charts. When I say that, you probably picture some giant, faceless corporation, right? Rows of cubicles, endless middle managers. Well, we're going to throw that whole idea out the window. Because here's the thing, if your team is more than just you already have an org chart. The only question is it clear and helpful, or is it a mess that's holding you back? I mean, do any of these sound familiar? In a small team that's moving fast, these questions pop up constantly. You think someone else is on a task, but they think you are. A big decision stalls because nobody's quite sure who gets to make the final call. It's a super common and honestly a super frustrating way to work. And look, this is so much more than just a project being a little late. When accountability gets fuzzy like that, people get frustrated. Resentment starts to build. It makes everyone feel like they're flying blind, and that just slowly corrodes the trust that keeps a small team feeling like, a team. So let's just call this what it is, the chaos of informality. It's that feeling of operating in a thick fog. Everyone's working their tail off, but all these unwritten rules and assumptions make it feel impossible to see where you're actually going. And we tell ourselves all these stories to justify it, don't we? Oh, we're a small team, everyone knows what they're doing. Or, my favorite, we're a flat organization, we don't do hierarchy. But let's be real, these are often just excuses to avoid having a slightly awkward but necessary conversation. And that last one, we're still figuring it out, that's the real trap, because it can become a permanent state of confusion if you let it. So, how in the world do you get out of this fog? Well, it's actually way simpler than you'd think. You just need a map, a simple tool to take that invisible in your head structure and make it visible for everyone to see and understand. And here's the number one most important thing to grasp. If your team has more than one person in it, you already have a structure. It exists. It's just living in assumptions and email threads and casual conversations. The problem isn't that there's a structure, it's that it's invisible, so you can't talk about it or make it better. Which brings us right back to the humble org chart. Seriously, forget the stiff corporate vibe for a second. Think of it like this. It is just a tool. That's it. It's a document that yanks that confusing structure out of everyone's brain and puts it on a screen where you can all look at it, point to it, and actually improve it together. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. What does this simple map actually do for you and your team? We're going to run through 6 huge benefits that show how this thing can totally transform your business and get you ready for real growth. First up, the change is immediate. You get role clarity. This before and after just says it all, doesn't it? Before, you've got this vague idea that everyone helps with marketing. It sounds nice and collaborative, but in reality, it means nobody truly owns it. Then, bam, the after. You have clear owners. Now things don't slip through the cracks anymore. Second, it completely changes how you hire. You go from that panicked feeling of, I just need help, to strategically seeing the actual gaps in your team. It helps you answer these really tough questions with confidence, turning reactive hiring into smart team building. And benefit number 3, people's performance just skyrockets. Nobody does their best work when they're confused. It's that simple. When people can see exactly what they own and how their piece fits into the bigger puzzle, they can move faster, make better decisions, and just plain get more done. Fourth, it gets you ready to scale. Because that informal, we'll figure it out system, sure, it might work with 3 people. But once you hit 5, you start to feel the cracks. And by the time you have 10 people, it's pure chaos. An org chart builds a foundation you can actually grow on. And that brings us to benefit number 5. And for all you founders and small business owners out there, listen up, because this is a total game changer. It's about what you can finally see when you map out your own job. Yeah, does this look a little familiar? When you actually draw this out, you're going to find your name in a lot of boxes. You're not just the CEO, you're the head of sales, the marketing lead, the customer service team. Seeing it all laid out like this is a powerful, eye-opening moment. It shows you just how much you're juggling. Which leads us to our 6th and maybe most important benefit, a plan for delegation. Now, let's be really clear. The goal isn't to magically stop doing all this stuff tomorrow. That's impossible. The goal is simply to document it, to finally see all the hats you're wearing so you can make a real strategic plan to start giving them away, one by one. It's about building your own escape route from the daily grind. So let's bring this all home. This whole thing is about being proactive. Building this simple map today is the single best thing you can do to prevent all the painful confusion that is absolutely coming your way as you grow. I mean, just let this quote sink in for a second. It just nails it. This is not some pointless bureaucratic exercise. It's not corporate fluff. It's a strategic tool. It's your roadmap for building a stronger team that's actually ready for what's next. Which really only leaves one last question, right? After everything we've talked about, the chaos, the fog, the path to clarity and growth, when is the absolute perfect time to sit down and finally draw this map for your team? Today. Not next quarter, not when you feel like you have more time, because you never will. The absolute best time to create clarity and set your team up to win is right now, today.